Thanks, Ron. The Philippines Cordillera region is acknowledged as one of northern Luzon's major watersheds, but it is also being threatened by poor practices. In a bid to correct the problem, every year since 2008, mountain bikes have take a 24-hour ride to help raise funds for the reforestation of the Cordillera Mountains. Now, this month, organizers are at it again with a forest ride, this time with an all-female team of riders. For more on Padyak para sa Binhi ng Cordi, Gaya Edition, joining us on the mornings is JP Alipio, Executive Director of Cordillera Conservation Trust, and bikers JC Pineda and Jaja Reyes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have you recovered? Feeling okay?
Oh, yeah. But it's really the girls.
Yeah. All right. Now, this is a fantastic project. I mean, we sort of painted the broad strokes. I mean, we're talking about northern Luzon's major watershed. It is, well, it's without the proper attention. Sooner or later, this is going to be a naked mountainside. And you guys are doing something about it. What's this project really all about?
Well, the project, it started in 2008. And me and a bunch of friends, we were these mountain bikers we used to go on a lot of long rides and everything, and we thought, why not put all these long rides to good use? And we had people pledge money for seedlings for reforestation, and since then it's actually quite surprising that we've been able to raise enough funds to plant a forest of about 25,000 seedlings just from those extreme mountain bike rides that we do every year since 2008.
You guys are doing good work, excellent work. All right, now the Odyssey is really a 24-hour ride, a 24-hour mountain bike ride. Now, I don't know if people realize just how challenging that really is. I mean, when you talk about going for a bike ride, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it starts to get a little tiring, but we're talking about 24 hours of continuous riding. And you guys are an all-female team that did it. I mean, JC, Jaja, tell us about the experience.
Well, at first it was fun, as you say, when you start biking.
Yeah.
The adrenaline rush is there.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the wee hours that you're pedaling up the mountains in the morning with all the rain, that was it kind of gets tiring.
And you start to get cranky, don't you?
Cranky and plus you're sleepy and cold and all that. So that was really the real challenge of it all.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like quite a sacrifice to make. So you guys must really believe in the project. How did you guys get convinced to join?
Because I love the Cordillera Mountains. We have a house there in Baguio. So ever since I was a child, we'd go up the mountains. And then, well, I love biking. And so when I learned about Padyak the first time they did it in 2008. And then, well, as friends, we've been supporting. And last year, when JP invited us, we're going to have an all-women team this time. So I said I'd join. I'd want to join. So there, we're here.
So what was it like though? I mean, was it everything like you said, you had support, you knew about the kind of projects that JP was doing, you had supported, but probably never really knew what it was like to actually be in there. But what was it like for you being part of the team? It
was different this time because we're an all-women team and I bike with guys, and it's different if you ride with the girls. It takes.
Why do you say that? What's the difference?
A lot.
You wouldn't know what's going on in there. A lot. The discussions we have.
Girls find ways to amuse themselves in very, very challenging situations.
All right.
And I think that's part of the beauty of having an all-women team. So then, under the rain, under the facing those treacherous climbs.
Absolutely. I think we're seeing some images now from the ride. I mean, you guys were talking
about Jaja biking up.
Yeah, I think you guys were talking about riding. I mean, mountain biking is challenging in itself, but doing it with very little sleep later on in the wee hours with very little sleep, you're tired, you're hungry, and then it starts to rain. It's cold. The terrain is very challenging. What kept you going?
We had to remind ourselves that it's not just for us. Well, yes, the activity gives you bragging rights, but it's beyond that. That even if you still can go, at times we had to remind ourselves that, okay, I'll rest for a bit. I'll let the other bikers do this this part so that we can go on longer.
Okay.
So-
So a little bit of forward planning comes into play here.
Yeah, it was always about taking one for the team.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you see the other team members getting tired, and you know, we did the bike leg after dinner, and it was so hard to get back on the bike because you're so full and you just want to go to sleep. We
Yeah.
had dinner
It
at
was
around
cold.
11 p.m.
Right.
And it's when when you see your other teammates getting tired, it's like, okay, I'll do this.
All right,
know,
props to you,
just for-
especially because I heard that you're not a particularly experienced rider and you took this challenge on. I mean, what were you thinking?
Yeah, we fooled her into coming.
Yeah.
Is this the last time we're going to see you on this,
No.
on this trip, on this
Of course not.
adventure?
But next time I'm gonna be support.
All right. I mean, what were you thinking? I mean, like JP said, we were talking off cam, and he said that you were basically convinced to take part in this adventure after only 3 or 4 bike rides
Yeah.
under your belt.
It's all Jaja's fault,
Okay,
you know.
now we got a lot of finger pointing going. Yeah, it's JP's fault. It's Jaja's fault.
I think she really believed in the advocacy.
All
of the-
right.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because I have never. We have always been athletes, but I'm mostly a road biker.
Right.
So. And when we train, when we train for races, triathlons, we always do it for ourselves.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you get tired, you get bragging rights because you finished so and so races. But we have never done anything for something with a purpose. So this is a good start.
All right.
And we'd love to be part of it the whole way.
All right, well let's take a step back here and talk about the bigger picture, the purpose here. I mean, you guys talked about, you hinted at that when you talked about planning ahead, planning forward, and this is what I think this is really all about. It's not really all that much of planning forward, but really sort of trying to fix what's already been damaged. I mean, the bigger picture here, the greater purpose for this adventure is about giving back and reforesting.
Exactly. Yeah. This year we actually focus a lot on women riders. One of the reasons
Why is that? Yeah, why is that?
we wanted to show that women are actually very important in looking at natural resource management, especially in rural areas where in the Cordillera, where women are actually the natural resource managers more than the men.
All right.
They decide what the house needs, what type of food, and all of these things.
And apparently they're also better bus drivers.
And they're better bus drivers. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the title alone, Padyak para sa binhi ng Cordi Gaia edition. I mean, we're talking when we talk about Earth, we're talking about Mother
Mother
Earth,
Earth.
you know,
Exactly,
and
yes.
so it really does seem fitting to focus on women for this adventure. So pick up from where you were.
Well, for this, like for instance, when we started this ride, just on the first kilometer alone, everybody was rooting for the girls. Everyone on the street,
Right,
and
right.
it was so different from when we were riding. It's like, oh, it's just the boys. They're,
Okay,
they're riding
okay,
again. But
okay.
when it's the girls, I guess it gets a lot of people excited. They never see girls on mountain bikes, especially on the terrain that we went through, and it really raises the bar for people to notice. Oh, what are they riding for?
Right.
And
So a
they're
lot
riding
more
for the
attention from
forest, yeah.
people also.
Exactly.
For the cause, and
Yeah.
the cause is really about reforesting the Cordillera. How do the proceeds go towards that?
Well, the proceeds go directly to purchasing of seedlings that we use to rebuild the denuded areas of the forest. So far, after the two bike rides that we did, we've already actually built about a forest of about 25,000 trees. Of course, at least maybe
excellent.
70% of that survives. No? But it was really surprising how much we've gotten from these extreme bike rides. No? So,
All right, and I think it's also great that because we were talking, the community themselves sort of get involved in the reforestation. I mean, you do the rides, you do raise the funds, you do provide the support and the seedlings towards the reforestation, but the community themselves sort of gets involved.
Definitely, because it's really what we look at forests here not simply as things that we enjoy, but also something that is for our livelihood. So the communities themselves directly benefit from rebuilding their own forest resources. It's where their water comes from, the wood for their houses, and a lot of things come from the forest. So they directly benefit from it.
All right, very cool. Like you said, a lot of support actually comes in post event. The people can still support and be involved. How can they do that?
Well, you can visit our Facebook page. It's Cordillera Conservation Trust, and get in touch with us through there for more donations and for for pledges for our forest building activities. And you can also volunteer when we have our forest building activities during the rainy months when we start building forests.
All right, very cool. It sounds like it really was quite the adventure. I envy you guys, and at some point I don't envy you guys also for taking part. But congratulations, really, for the taking part in such a great cause. And please do continue doing the work that you guys are doing, JP. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing the adventure with us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you to JP Alipio, JC Pineda, and Jaja Reyes. We've got JP, JC, and Jaja. Tongue twister there. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks.